What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? Tonight, I'm going to go over the best free agent signings of all time. Let's get to it. And what is going on, baseball fans? How you doing tonight? Happy Saturday to everyone here. Hope you're all having a good weekend so far. All right, you got 48 people in the chat. I'm already seeing a super chat coming in. Oh, William Fulgham, you are out of your mind, my friend. Thank you so much. That should pop up on the right here or here. Should pop up here in a second. Right? I can't figure out. Wait, which way am I going? Oh, there we go. They should be popping up right here in a second. William, thank you so much. Great topic. Love your streams. Best free agent signing for the Braves. Maddix for sure. I know yours is Manny. All of you did see a preview on the thumbnail. So you guys know of a few that are going to be on this list. William, I don't know why it's not popping up, my friend. I'm so sorry. Is it going to pop up anywhere? No? I'm sorry, William. I'm not sure what's going on here, but William, $14.99 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Very greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. But yes, I have been wanting to kind of start getting back to some lists. I used to love doing lists. I did lists for like so many different things. I was doing lists for prospects at one point. Players at each position. I was doing just other random ones like best teams or best players that never won an MVP and something like that, like pitchers that should have won a Cy Young. I love doing lists like top 10 or top 5. Those are always fun to me. So it gives me a chance to kind of go back in time, to kind of revisit some things, to kind of really pay respects to the history of the game, and to kind of just, I don't know, I find a lot of the history stuff fun. I love today's game, but just going back to, guys from when I was growing up, it's always fun to kind of just look back at history. So everyone, hope you're ready to get this started. I'm seeing 52 people in the chat. Hope you're doing good. Before I get started, you know me, I got to do the cheap plugs. I'm sorry. Here we go. We're trying to get to 6K by opening day. So if you're looking for more baseball news and content, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button for me. Go follow me on Twitter if you want to talk some baseball throughout the day. And that's all I got. So everyone, let's not waste any time. Let's get right to the list. All right, starting off, I'm going to go over some honorable mentions. So here we go. I got a few. I had some guys that I wanted to put on this list, and I actually had on this list, and then I was like, oh wait, that guy was a free agent at one point. I gotta put that guy on the list, and then I didn't realize like some guys actually had some really good numbers that I had to put on my list, and I had to take some guys out. So I figured, I'm like, you know what? Let's make it honorable mentions. Let's just look at these ones first. So taking a look, one that really jumps right off the bat to me, Larry Walker. Larry Walker, to me, this guy won an MVP after signing with the Rockies. Incredible numbers from him. Unfortunately, just was never on a winning team. So I had to go with someone else. I really wanted to put Larry Walker on this list. Sorry, Rockies fans. I know you're having a tough day. I know. I'm sorry. I couldn't put Larry Walker on here. Maybe he'll be on your list, but for me, he just missed. I have him at like number 11 or number 12. El Duque, I think, is an underrated one. Orlando Hernandez with the Yankees. This guy came over and he helped them win championships. He was a key figure starting or coming out of the bullpen. So Orlando Hernandez, really good. David Price, I was actually a little iffy about putting David Price here. For me, maybe there's a little bias here. David Price did not have the best tenure in Boston, but you know what? He really turned it on when it mattered most in the 2018 playoffs. Really pitched well in that ALCS against the Astros. Really pitched well in that World Series. He came to Boston to help them get one job done, and that was to win a World Series. How about Jermaine Dye, the World Series MVP of 2005? Jermaine Dye was actually really solid with the White Sox. How about Paul Molitor? This guy came over to the Blue Jays, not for very long, helped them win a World Series. Finished, I believe, second. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think he finished second in MVP voting his first year with the Blue Jays, but most of all, helped them win a championship. Had a really good World Series that year. Speaking of the Blue Jays, how about Roger Clemens? This guy was insane. He was on a mission when he went to the Blue Jays after the Red Sox. Everyone was saying Roger Clemens was in the twilight of his career. He goes to the Blue Jays and wins a couple Cy Youngs. This guy was pitching out of his mind. And then Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge. This guy was great. His career with the Rangers was definitely better than with the Tigers, but with the Tigers, he really put up some decent numbers. He kind of helped turn that franchise around. He was the first signing that really helped turn the franchise around, helped them get to a World Series. Didn't win a World Series, unfortunately, but Ivan Rodriguez, I thought, was a key figure in Detroit Tigers history. So I'm probably missing out on a bunch of guys here, but these are the ones that I just at least came up with, at least for now. So these are my honorable mentions. So coming back to here, starting off my list at number 10. Here we go. Let me make sure I got the music off. Okay, music's off. Here we go. At number 10, let's start off with Mike Mussina signing with the Yankees in 2001. Mike Mussina, to me, was one of the more underrated pitchers in this game. Mike Mussina, when I first started watching baseball, I actually watched Mike Mussina almost throw a perfect game against the Red Sox. That was when I first started thinking, oh my God, this Mike Mussina guy is really good. I remember that. And then we got the hit in the 9th inning. I believe that was Carl Everett who broke it up. But man, Mike Mussina was so good in his career. So let's share the screen. Here we go. Sharing the screen. All right, let me make sure it's good here. Okay, good. I have my tabs open, and I was hoping to God you weren't going to see the tabs. So good. I raised it just enough for you guys so you couldn't see. Let me move this over just a little bit so you can see Mr. Mussina's face. Here we go. Let's see if that's good. There we go. We're looking good. All righty. So as you can see, Mike Mussina, he was really solid with the Orioles, and then he came over to the Yankees. This guy, to me, was just Mr. Consistency. He was so good. If you take a look at how he was from 2001 to 2008, 2008 was arguably maybe one of his best seasons. If you go look 2008 real quick. I want to take a quick look. 2008, he was so good. I think it wasn't a career low FIP. No, I wouldn't count it as his best season, but goodness gracious, that last season of his career was so good. He walked out on like the best possible note. But taking a look at how he did over his tenure with the Yankees, I mean, he did sign an extension at one point, but so I'm not just counting the first contract. I'm going to look at the whole thing. So with the Yankees, had a win percentage of .631, over 1,500 innings. I mean, good grief. FIP of 3.50, ERA of 3.88. Helped them win a couple of pennants. Helped them in 2001 get to the World Series. Helped them in 2003 get to the World Series. Almost got to the World Series in 2004. I can't remember what team made it to the World Series that year. What was that team again in 2004? Hey, remind me in the chat. I'm going just completely blank. I'm sorry, everyone. But, it was my Red Sox. Oh, that's right. Greatest comeback in sports history. That's what I'm talking about. I digress. But Yankees signing Mike Mussina, awesome. Really love this for the Yankees. I mean, just such a consistent guy in the middle of that rotation. You could always count on Mike Mussina. I thought he was just such a consistent pitcher for them. So that starts off my list. Alrighty. Now, coming back. So Mike Mussina starts off my list at number 10. Moving on to number 9, we're going to move to a position player here. I'm trying to remember my rankings by heart so I can give you like a little preview before I click on it. Was it a position player? Yes, it was a position player. This guy was not able to win a World Series, but he brought them pretty close when he first signed. And that's Adrian Beltray. Adrian Beltray was so good with the Rangers. In 2010, he signed with my Red Sox in 2010. Had an amazing bounce-back season. He was with the Mariners for a few years, but he went to the Red Sox to rebuild his value, and oh my, he had a really good season. And then he went on to have a really good career with the Rangers, got to the World Series that year. Couldn't quite get it done that year against the Cardinals, but Adrian Beltray, oh my, what a career for him. So let's actually share the screen here. All right, Adrian Beltray up next. Here we go. Taking a look at the stats. So again, he was with the Dodgers for a while there, had a really good season in 2004, signed a long-term deal with the Seattle Mariners. I mean, he didn't do bad with the Mariners by any means, but in 2009, he only hit 265, only had the 683 OPS. I mean, before that, he was doing okay, but he wasn't really delivering like people thought he was going to. But then he went to Boston, had a 919 OPS, had the 28 homers, 102 RBIs. He was so fun in 2010. I loved Adrian Beltray in 2010. But then he went to Texas, and this guy just started putting up some really good numbers, had some top 10 MVP finishes, had some gold gloves, had some silver sluggers. Over his tenure with the Rangers before he retired, even that last year, he wasn't really that bad that last year. A 763 OPS, had a 273 average that year, 15 home runs. So he went out on a pretty decent note as well. But during his time with the Rangers, so OPS of 865, had a 304 batting average, averaged 25 home runs, 87 RBIs a year. I mean, really good numbers from Adrian Beltray. I don't know. I just thought he was a really solid signing. It's a shame that the Rangers, they were so close in 2011, so close, but couldn't quite get it done. But he did help them get there. But, at the end of the day, what can you do? But Adrian Beltray, to me, one of the best free agent signings of all time. I hear a super chat coming in. Rocky Adams, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. What are the odds of the Jays going after a guy like Marquez? I feel like you'd be a perfect fit. By the way, great work as always. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Marquez, I don't know. I think the Rockies are going to hang on to him. I mean, come on. If you were a Rockies fan right now, I mean, you would probably hate to trade Marquez. Are you kidding? I would keep Marquez. Actually, go into I just posted a video not too long ago, about an hour ago. I actually talked about Germán Marquez in there, and just go watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But, yes. All right, moving on to my list. So we got Mike Mussina at number 10, Adrian Beltray at number 9. Let's come back to you here. At number 8, we're going to move to a pitcher. We're going to move to a pitcher that helped this team win a World Series, and that is John. Oh, wait, I just skipped a number. Well, you guys are seeing number 7. Darn it, I clicked on the wrong one. All right, let's talk about number 7, and then I'll go back to number 8. Jon Lester with the Cubs in 2015. Jon Lester with the Cubs in 2015. What a great signing for the Cubs this turned out to be. 2015 had an incredible season with the Cubs that year. 2016 had another solid season. So let's go take a look at Mr. Jon Lester here. I can't believe I just clicked on the wrong one. Whatever. So here we go. Sharing the screen. So Jon Lester is coming in at number 7. I accidentally skipped number 8. I'll go back to number 8 here in a second. But Jon Lester, lately, not really looking too great the last couple of years. But man, oh man, when he first came over to the Cubs, they brought him in for one reason only, and that was to help them win a World Series for the first time in over 100 years. They brought him in for one reason. 2015, had a good year in 2015. Kind of lacked the run support a lot in 2015. 3.34 ERA that year. If we go take a look at the FIP, a 2.92, very good FIP, 9 strikeouts per 9. But then 2016, he really turned it on. Had a Cy Young worthy season that year, finished second in the Cy Young voting. Very good season in 2016. Really pitched well in the playoffs that year. 2017 was good. 2018 was good. But overall, the big reason for Jon Lester being on this list, and maybe there's a little bias on my end because I do love Jon Lester from his time with the Red Sox, but Jon Lester with the Cubs, man, like the fact that they were able to win a World Series, like you all know the story. I mean, over 100 years. That's a lot. That's a long time. But Jon Lester was a huge part of that World Series. To me, he did cost a pretty penny when they brought him in. About what was it, $155 million over 6 years, I believe. 6 years, $155. Definitely cost a pretty penny. Was it the best value contract of all time? No. I mean, you were paying him a lot of money. I thought overall he did pretty good. If you look at the wins above replacement from 2015 to 2020, he is now a Washington National. Put up a wins above replacement of 13.2. So over, let's see, I cannot do math in my head. Over 6 seasons, so that's about 2 wins per season overall. But when you take a look at 2016, a 5.6 wins above replacement, he was so good that year. Came close to winning the Cy Young, but close but no cigar. But Jon Lester, I think, one of the better free agent signings of all time. I think definitely him winning a World Series was the big reason for him to get on this list, just because there was just so much riding against the Cubs. And you got to think that World Series for the Cubs, it wasn't just the pressure of winning a World Series. It was the pressure of ending a 100-plus-year-old curse. And so Jon Lester comes in at number 7. I accidentally skipped number 8. I clicked on the wrong one. Coming in at number 8, we're going to backtrack a little bit, and then we'll go to number 6. At number 8, we have another pitcher on this list that helped a team win the World Series for the first time in their franchise history, and that's Kevin Brown, signing with the Marlins in 1997. Kevin Brown, I feel like a lot of people don't remember how good Kevin Brown was with the Marlins in 97 when he first came over. Oh my God, he was so good. He was so good. So let's go take a look at him. Only 2 years. This is why, overall, he actually had a slightly higher wins above replacement than Lester did. But I put Kevin Brown one less spot below Lester because he was only with the Marlins for 2 years. So, but he definitely made those 2 years count. So let's go ahead and share the screen. Here we go. Alrighty. So over 2 years. I mean, this guy made all of his starts over 2 years, 33-19 record, 2.30 ERA. I mean, good grief. FIP of 2.91. This guy was so good. I believe he also finished second in Cy Young voting. Yeah, he finished second in Cy Young voting just like Lester. Helped them win a World Series. Or he came over, oh shoot, I did the wrong year. I meant to say he came over in 1996. I apologize. 1996. And then he helped them win a World Series in 97. He was really good. Good during that postseason. Put up good numbers. Kevin Brown, I mean, the Cubs, yeah, they won a World Series, for the first time in over 100 years, but he helped them win their first ever World Series. And they were not a, very old team. They were only around for a few years at this point. So Kevin Brown coming over there, he did really good with the Rangers. I mean, overall, he went to Baltimore for 1 year, but then he really just turned it on. So let's actually go take a look with the Rangers. Okay. So during his time with the Rangers, 3.81 ERA, 3.72 FIP. And then he went to the Orioles, kind of put up numbers pretty similar. But then when he got to Florida, man, something happened with him, and he just really turned it on. He was really good with the Padres in 98. Then he went to the Dodgers, did really well over there. Eventually went to the Yankees, punched a wall, broke his hand, and that was all there was to it. But I personally believe him signing with the Marlins in 1996, apologize, I put a typo there, but 96 to 97, Kevin Brown, to me, one of the best free agents to ever sign. Wasn't very long, but it wasn't the quantity of the years, it was the quality. So 2 years, he did pretty good. Alrighty. Coming back to you guys here. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, coming in at number 6. Who do I got here? I got another position player here. We're going to go back in time a little bit with this one. We're going to go back a few years here. We're going to go back way before the 90s, like Kevin Brown was. in the 90s. But here we go. At number 6, Reggie Jackson. Oh my God, no, he did not sign in 1997. That is incorrect. That's supposed to say 1977. Dang it, man. All right, here we go. Whatever. I can't do anything about it. Here we go. Could you imagine Reggie Jackson playing in 1997? All right, here we go. Taking a look, sharing the screen. Mr. Reggie Jackson. All right, so he signed with the Yankees in 1977. This was one of like the more, when free agency wasn't like a big thing back then, but he was one of the more premier free agents he was one of the first premier free agents. He was really good in his time with Oakland. Really good numbers with Oakland. And then he went over to the Yankees, helped them win a couple of World Series, was an all-star every single year with the Yankees, put up really good numbers during his time. Over that time, from 1977 to 1981, 281 average, 897 OPS, average 29 home runs a year, 92 RBIs. But most importantly, Mr. October, I mean, this guy won championships, won a couple with the Yankees. I believe he was a World Series MVP with the Yankees at one point. Was he a World Series MVP? Yes, he was. So he was the World Series MVP in 1977. So beating the Dodgers that year. So Reggie Jackson, to me, this guy, I think tends to get forgotten a little bit. I mean, unless you're a Yankee fan. Yankee fans love Reggie Jackson. But I think overall in baseball, I mean, man, I would like to hear more of this guy more often. He's such a solid player in his career. Really like Reggie Jackson in the Hall of Fame. Overall in his career, during a 162-game average, averaged 32 home runs a season, 98 RBIs, 260 average, 846 OPS. Just such a solid player. Great signing for the Yankees back in 1977, not 1997. That was a typo. But hey, Reggie Jackson, 1997. He probably still could have played then. When did he retire? 1987. Oh, yeah, I could have taken a 10-year break, and then come back and play. Probably would have been fine. Probably would have hit a couple of home runs, but hey, you never know. Alrighty, moving on. So we're going to get into the top 5 now. Getting into the top 5. This one, the first controversial one on this list. And some of you actually, I feel like that you could be pretty split on this. You could be thinking, wow, you put this guy on this list? Or you could be thinking, wow, you put him only this low on this list? I feel like this could go either way. So I put it at number 5 because I feel like you got a bit of a middle ground with this pick here. You can kind of have an argument for both sides of whether or not he should be on this list or whether or not it's, he's maybe a little too low on this list. So right in the middle at number 5, I got Barry Bonds signing with the Giants in 1993. Look how slim he is in 1993. He must have been, I don't know what, he must have been having some extra protein shakes a few years after this. Man, looking nice and slim. I don't know. That whey protein, man. That Kool-Aid, it's gonna get you some size, man. All right, here we go. Moving on to Barry Bonds. I mean, you could argue that he could be the greatest free agent of all time. I mean, really, when you really think about it, you could make this argument for Barry Bonds. This guy put up insane numbers. Yes, there's the controversy. Yes, there's everything tied to Barry Bonds, but I'm only looking at the numbers here. So let's go share the screen. Taking a look at Barry Bonds. I mean, I love looking at Barry Bonds' baseball reference page because I just see all of the italics, which means he led the entire major leagues in those stats. It's so fun to just look at. Mike Trout is the closest thing to this today, but just looking at this, there's so much bold print. There's so much italics, all-star, all down the list. It's just sometimes I just come on here and I just look at it, because it's just like so stupid, the numbers that he put up. Look at all the walks. This still boggles my mind. 2004, it boggles my mind. Like, I know 2001, that's probably that's like the historic season for Barry Bonds, the 73 home runs. But holy cow, man, 2004 was so good. I mean, that was a career high OPS. He got walked 232 times. He was on base 6 out of 10 times. Think about that. That's insane. He had a slugging of .812. It's like mind-boggling looking at these numbers. I don't get it. This guy in 2007 had a .480 on base. Like, what the heck, man? Like, I just laugh at these numbers. Like, yes, I understand. He was having some extra, protein shakes. I get that. He was sipping on a little Kool-Aid. But overall, I just cannot leave him off this list. These numbers are mind-boggling. I mean, holy cow. Looking at his career with the Giants. Let's look at the averages with the Giants. He averaged 39 home runs a year, which is crazy because, like, from after 2001, he had after 2000, he had at least 40 home runs each season. And that's crazy. So, let's just take in these numbers. With the Giants, 1.143 OPS, a .312 batting average. I mean, it's just like so funny to look at to me. Like, I cannot get over this. Like, I mean, whatever Barry Bonds was, whatever he was sipping on throughout his career, I mean, sure, yeah, it definitely helped him, but I mean, these numbers are just insane. So that's who I have at number 5. I decided to put him right in smack dab in the middle of this list, and I'll let you all decide, should he be higher on this list? Should he be lower on this list? Should he be on this list at all? So I'm going to put him right in the middle for all of you. So here we go. Now we're really moving into the top 5 here. Here we go. Number 4 on this list. Here we go. Max Scherzer signing with the Nationals in 2015. Max Scherzer has been as good as it gets on the mound in recent years. Love me some Max Scherzer, one of my favorite players in the game today. Love Max Scherzer. So, Joseph Dunlap, really appreciate that, my friend. As you can see here, pulling up Max Scherzer, this guy has been awesome. Here we go. Alrighty. Max Scherzer with the Nationals after signing in 2015. He's won a couple of Cy Youngs. He won a World Series in 2019. This guy has been great. A 2.80 ERA. In the last 6 years, 84 and 43 record, a 661 winning percentage. I mean, good grief. The FIP 2.86, really good. Averaging how many strikeouts per 9? About 12 strikeouts per 9. I mean, come on. Walks per 9 are good at 2. 1 home run per 9. I mean, this guy 153 ERA plus. This guy's great, man. Max Scherzer has been the real deal in the last 6 years. What a great contract for the Nationals. It has proven to be worth every penny. Won back-to-back Cy Youngs in 2016, 2017. He's besides 2020, he has finished top 5 in the Cy Young voting every single year. So I actually had a tough time whether or not to put him in the number 3 spot or to put him in the number 4 spot. I definitely think Max Scherzer, by the time all is said and done with his career, he could definitely be a top 3 free agent of all time. So we still got some time. He still has another season here. So actually, he's a free agent in 2022. So yeah, he's got one more season with the Nationals. Who knows? Maybe he vaults himself into the top 3 on my list if he balls out this next season. The Nationals are looking pretty decent. Who knows? Maybe he can end up having a really good season again, and they can really make a deep playoff run again. So, Larry Fitzgerald, yo, Robbie, make a video on players who play now who should be in the Hall of Fame. Hey, that could be a good idea, actually. I appreciate that, Larry. That actually could be a good idea. Maybe I could make maybe like some predictions on who makes the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, that's a good idea. I might actually look into that. So, alrighty, everyone, here we go. We're going to go into our top 3 now. Top 3 free agents of all time. So let's just go over this list real quick. We had Mike Mussina at number 10. We had Adrian Beltray at number 9. We had Kevin Brown at number 8, John Lester at number 7, Reggie Jackson at number 6, Barry Bonds at number 5. The one thing about Barry Bonds I didn't mention, another reason I have him at number 5, he never won a World Series. So he was never able to get the Giants to a World Series championship. I mean, they made it to the World Series, a lot of playoff appearances, but Barry Bonds was never able to secure a World Series championship, and that was a big factor for me in this list. Were they able to help them win a World Series? Max Scherzer at number 4. Here we go. At number 3, Manny Ramirez signing with the Red Sox in 2001. I promise you there is no bias here. All right, maybe a smidge. But let's be real here. Manny Ramirez, as tumultuous as it got towards the end of his Red Sox career, and even in the middle of it as well, Manny Ramirez, to me, if this was another team, I would still put him at the number 3 spot. This guy had a really good tenure with the Red Sox. He won a couple of World Series. He won a World Series MVP. So let's actually go take a look. Let's share the screen. Taking a look at Man Ram. I mean, this guy, Manny being Manny in his career, but this guy put up some numbers. Never was able to win an MVP. The highest he ever got MVP. You could argue that Manny Ramirez, actually, I did make a list. Best players to never win an MVP. Manny Ramirez is definitely one of them. Manny Ramirez, this guy put up really good numbers during his time with the Red Sox. I clicked on the wrong year. So let's just do from 2001 to 2007. He was traded to the Dodgers in 2008. Who remembers that, man? 12 years ago, Manny Ramirez going to the Dodgers, the Red Sox getting Jason Bay from the Pirates. Man, that was a fun time. Here we go. Manny Ramirez, in his time with the Red Sox, he averaged 36 home runs a season, 114 RBIs. This guy had a 1.006 OPS. I mean, the guy put up great numbers every single year. Yes, he had his phases of Manny being Manny. A lot of people I don't think remember how good he was in 2004. He was so good that year. 2003, he was really good as well. I mean, look at 2002. Had an OPS of almost 1,100 that year. I mean, he had a 349 batting average. I'm surprised he didn't finish higher on that list on MVP voting. But 2004, man, a really good year. 43 home runs, 130 RBIs. Won World Series MVP that year when the Red Sox beat the Cardinals. Helped them win again in 2007. Manny Ramirez actually, he did miss some. I remember he missed some time in 2007, but then he was good for the playoffs. And then he had that walk-off against the Angels. That was huge. That was probably still that's in the intro. I have that Manny Ramirez home run in the intro to my channel. I mean, he was so good with the Red Sox, man. Like, I promise you, this is not just bias. This is, I mean, the guy put together such good numbers. You could argue Max Scherzer being in this spot, but I gave the edge to Manny simply just because, yes, he hasn't won the awards, but he won a World Series MVP. He was a big part of that 2004 playoff run. He was a big part of that 2007 World Series team. So I give the slight edge to Manny Ramirez here at number 3. What a great signing with the Red Sox. Awesome signing. So as we can see here, Manny was very good. But now we are going to move in to our top 2. Our top 2. You're going to figure out who was number 1 because of this thumbnail, because this guy you won't see in the thumbnail. So you're going to know who's number 1. But at number 2, arguably one of my favorite pictures of all time. And, I don't hear a lot about this guy very often. Greg Maddix in 1993. Greg Maddix, to me, I love Greg Maddix. Easily one of my favorite pictures of all time. I'd even, if it wasn't for Pedro being on the Red Sox, I have that bias for the Red Sox, but man, Greg Maddix, I just love the way he pitched. I loved what he did on the mound. This guy put up some insane numbers. Absolutely insane numbers. Let's go take a look. I loved what kind of a pitcher Greg Maddix was. I love that he didn't blow you away with velocity. He didn't do any. He didn't have the nasty spin rates. He didn't have like the dominant sliders or whatever. Like he mixed and matched. He used his pitches in different counts. He mixed and matched all over the zone. He would throw it up high. He would throw it up low. He would hit the corners. The guy could paint corners all day. The guy could locate. Probably one of the best locators of all time. Greg Maddix had pinpoint control. I loved Greg Maddix. I don't know if any of you had MVP Baseball 2005, arguably the best baseball game of all time. I would always love pitching with Greg Maddix on that game because his control was so good that I could paint the corners anytime I wanted to. Greg Maddix to me, man. 4-time Cy Young winner. But the big thing, his signing with the Braves was huge. So if we take a look from 1993 all the way to 2003, 11 seasons total with the Braves, he averaged an 18-8 record, a 2.63 ERA, a 2.95 FIP. As you can see, 6.5 strikeouts per nine. Not a lot of strikeouts, but that's not what he did. He only walked 1.4 per nine. He didn't give up any home runs either. He averaged half a home run during his time with the Braves. That is mind-boggling. Oh, we got a super chat coming in. William Fulgham again. Greg Maddix faced 20,421 batters in his career. Only 133 of them saw a 3-0 count. Wow. I mean, it's like, that to me is art, man. Art. Like, if to me, like when you see those people when they go to like the museums and they just, look at the pictures and they just appreciate the art. That was me with Greg Maddix. I would, if Greg Maddix was pitching on TV, I remember like in the early 2000s, like I started really watching baseball in 2003, and I remember seeing Greg Maddix a couple of times, and as I was like flipping through the channels as a kid. But I remember with the Cubs, I remember watching him with the Cubs in 2005. He didn't have his best season that year, but I just remember watching him, and I just loved the way he worked. It was so, love Greg Maddix, man. Love Greg Maddix. I really did want to put him number one on this list, but I had to use my head. There is another guy ahead of him, but Greg Maddix helped win a World Series. This guy, let's move over a little bit. He won 3 straight Cy Youngs after signing with the Braves. 3 straight, man. He had another second place finish. He finished 5th in 96, 4th in 98, 3rd in 2000. I mean, you could argue that I think I actually did a video. I did a video on pictures that should have won an MVP award. I think I said 1995, Greg Maddix should have won the MVP. If we actually go look at the MVP voting in 1995, in the National League, you had Barry Larkin, who won the MVP. He won the MVP with an 886 OPS. I mean, you had Dante Bichette. Sure. I mean, you could give it to Bichette there, I guess. But, dude, Greg Maddix was so valuable that year. I mean, insane, man. 19-2 record. I know wins and losses aren't the end-all, be-all, but when you got a record like that, that is nuts, man. That is nuts. 1.63 ERA that year. He actually had a decent amount of strikeouts that year, 181. That's actually a lot for Greg Maddix. So, absolutely love Greg Maddix. What a career for him, but what a great signing by the Braves. Probably the best signing in their history. Again, 3 straight Cy Youngs, helped them win a World Series. And they got to another World Series so they got there in 2000. So, I mean, they had a lot of playoff runs. Greg Maddix, man, one of the best of all time. Definitely, easily one of the best free agents of all time. So here we go. Coming in at number 1. You may have already seen it on the thumbnail. You've figured it out probably by now who number 1 is. This guy to me is easily the best free agent of all time. And that is Randy Johnson, signing with the Diamondbacks in 1999. This guy was out of his mind. Greg Maddix was out of his mind, but Randy Johnson, man. Randy Johnson. This guy was nuts. Let's just go right to the stats, man. I'm looking at these stats right now. It's insane. Insane. All right, here we go. Sharing the screen. Okay, here we go. So Randy Johnson. So early years, he was with the Expos. He went to the Mariners at one point, won a Cy Young with the Mariners. He was traded to the Astros at one point to try and help them with a playoff run. Couldn't quite get it done. But after that season, signing with the Diamondbacks, I believe at the time it was like 4 years, like $52 million, which at the time was a decent contract. Was that actually a record contract for a pitcher at the time? I don't remember. But this guy, he won 4 Cy Young awards in a row. First year with the Diamondbacks, 99, won a Cy Young. I mean, come on. Oh, let me move this over just a little bit. 99, first year, 17-9 record, 2.48 ERA, 2.76 FIP, 12 strikeouts per 9. I mean, come on. 2000, 19-7, 2.64 ERA, 2.53 FIP. Again, 12 and a half strikeouts per 9. 2002, 24-5 record, 2.66 FIP, 2.32 ERA. I mean, wait, am I looking at the right one? No, he had a 2.49 ERA that year. He had a 2.13 FIP, which is ungodly. And then he had 13 strikeouts per 9. 21-6 record that year. 2001, won a World Series that year. Helped the Diamondbacks win their first World Series in franchise history. 2002, 24-5 record. 2.32 ERA. 2.66 FIP. 11 and a half strikeouts per 9. I mean, this guy was nuts. 2004, he was really good. He was nuts. 2004, he had a perfect game. 16-14 record. He had so many losses because the Diamondbacks were so bad that year. But he had a 2.30 ERA. I remember, I'm surprised he didn't get traded that year. I remember he was in the rumors to get traded, and they just hung on to him. He was 40 years old. He was 40 years old in 2004, and he was still putting up really good numbers, man. And then, and as we all remember, he went to the Yankees. Who remembers when Randy Johnson went to the Yankees? Wow, I still remember that, man. The Red Sox, they had just won the World Series in 2004. Does anyone remember watching the opening night game between the Red Sox and the Yankees in 2005? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you remember that. Randy Johnson pitching in opening night for the Yankees in 2005 against the Red Sox. Who remembers that? Does anyone remember that? Boston Red Sox. So I'm guessing you're a Red Sox fan. William remembers it. You remember how electric that night was. That way you were coming off of a World Series for the Red Sox, the first World Series in 86 years. That opening night game with the Red Sox Yankees was buzzing. That was it. If you were at Yankee Stadium that night, and you saw Randy Johnson pitching, dude, like, get out of town. That was so electric that night. For us, for myself as a Red Sox fan, it was quite depressing. First time seeing this team since winning a World Series the year prior, and then Randy Johnson coming in and just pummeling the Red Sox that night. He was Randy Johnson was traded to the Yankees in 2005. But yeah, man. So there's my list. What a year! What a signing for the Diamondbacks that was. So let's go over this real quick. During that time, he had a .678 winning percentage, 103 wins, 49 losses. He had a 2.57 ERA during that time, 2.65 2.57 FIP, 2.65 ERA, 12 strikeouts per 9, gave up less than a home run per 9. I mean, good grief. I mean, during that time, man, this guy was nuts. He averaged over 300 strikeouts a season. I mean, this is as good as it gets when it comes to free agent signings. Again, I wanted to go with Greg Maddix in this spot, but I could not put Randy Johnson in the number one spot. So, alrighty, everyone. Well, that's my list. Going over it. At number 10, we had Mike Mussina. At number 9, we had Adrian Beltray. At number 8, we had Kevin Brown. At number 7, we had John Lester. At number 6, we had Reggie Jackson. At number 5, we have Barry Bonds. At number 4, Max Scherzer. At number 3, Manny Ramirez. At number 2, Greg Maddix. And at number 1, the greatest free agent signing of all time, in my opinion, Randy Johnson. So, everyone, that is the list for tonight. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Saturday night, you guys are in the mood for some baseball. Not a huge crowd tonight. Not surprised by that. Not really anything going on. huge in the news right now besides Nolan Arenado last night. Before I get out of here, if you are new, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 6K subscribers by opening day. 6K by opening day. Let's see if we can get there. Hit that like button for me before you get out of here. That really goes a long way for getting this stream out to more people. And go follow me on Twitter if you want to talk some baseball throughout the day. So everyone, again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Yeah, it's Saturday night, and I'm going to go to sleep. I'm pretty tired. Yeah, I'm an old man, everyone. I'm an old man. 10:30 is my bedtime for a Saturday night. So, everyone, again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you all for the super chats tonight. Really appreciate that. And if there is, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm probably not going to go live tomorrow night. I'm going to be honest, as much as I'm a baseball fan, I have been a wrestling fan for years and years and years. I don't like wrestling that much anymore. Like, I do like wrestling today, but it's nowhere near as good as it was in the late 90s, early 2000s. But tomorrow night is the Royal Rumble, arguably my favorite pay-per-view of the year in wrestling. I have loved the Royal Rumble ever since I was a little kid. So tomorrow is the Royal Rumble. I'm probably going to be watching that. Most likely something is going to happen tomorrow night, and I'll probably come on and talk some baseball. So, yeah, but that's all I got, everyone. So if there is something, I'll hop on tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe I'll get in the mood to do a stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll come up with another list of some sort. So stay tuned. But everyone, have a good night. Thanks for coming out, and I'll talk to you next time.